The Hillside Stranglers, Los Angeles Terror, 1977 to 1978, Fear in the City of Angels. Hit subscribe before it's too late, because the truth hiding in the hills of Los Angeles is darker than anyone ever imagined. It began on a cool October night in 1977. The lights of Los Angeles glittered across the basin. But for a city famed for dreams and stardom, something far more sinister was lurking in its shadows. A driver on a lonely hillside road near Glendale spotted what he thought was a mannequin lying near the curb. When police arrived, their flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing not plastic, but the lifeless body of a young woman. Her hands were bound, her expression frozen in fear. Detectives marked the scene with quiet dread. They had no idea this was only the beginning. Within a month, more bodies appeared, all young women, all found dumped along steep roadsides or brushy hills that framed Los Angeles. The media called them the Hillside Murders. The victims had been strangled with shocking precision. Panic spread fast. Women refused to go out at night. Families double-locked their doors. And the police, overwhelmed by the city's sheer size, struggled to find any pattern. At the LAPD headquarters, the case became an obsession. Dozens of detectives pored over maps, crime scene photos, and timelines. "It's almost surgical," one investigator muttered, scanning autopsy results. Same technique, same fear in their eyes. Rumors spread that a serial killer was loose, but the truth would prove even more terrifying, because it wasn't just one killer, it was two. The investigation uncovered that each victim had last been seen getting into what looked like an unmarked police car. Witnesses reported the same thing again and again. Two men flashing fake badges, acting calm and authoritative, convincing women they were under arrest. Detectives pieced together the chilling ruse. The killers posed as undercover cops, abducting women under the pretense of questioning them, only for the victims to vanish hours later. By late November, the entire city was on edge. Every woman feared a knock on her car window. Every man driving a dark sedan was suddenly a suspect. The LAPD and the Sheriff's Department began working together for the first time in years. Forced to share information after a heated argument between commanders nearly derailed the case. Then, another body was found. This time in the Hollywood Hills. The victim was 17-year-old Lauren Wagner, a college student with no connection to the others except for the brutal method used. On her wrists were faint impressions of rope and traces of oil. One detective leaned closer under the crime scene light. "Automotive grease," he murmured. It was the first real clue. The killers, it seemed, worked with cars. That detail set off a quiet race. A hunt through every auto shop, tow yard, and car upholstery business in Los Angeles County. Detectives interviewed mechanics, searched garages, and followed every rumor. One night, a young patrol officer mentioned a man who bragged about dating models. A smooth-talking guy who owned an upholstery shop and always seemed to have new cars coming in and out of his lot. His name was Angelo Buono, and he had a cousin who lived with him for a while, a man named Kenneth Bianchi. Detectives circled the names on the board, but nothing tied them directly to the crimes. Not yet. Then, a lab report came back on the fibers found on one of the victims. They matched the carpet lining of a custom van registered to Buono's business. The investigators finally had a connection, weak but real. But before they could act, something chilling happened. A new body appeared, this time dumped brazenly in the middle of a residential area. And inside, her wallet was a business card. It read, "Buono's Auto Upholstery." The room fell silent. Every detective knew it. They weren't chasing shadows anymore. They had just looked the killer in the eyes. Partners in evil. Hit subscribe if you think you've seen darkness, because the monsters hiding behind badges in Los Angeles were just getting started. The morning sun had barely broken through the smog when detectives arrived at Buono's Auto Upholstery in Glendale. The small garage looked ordinary. A few cars parked out front, oil stains on the pavement, a faded sign half hanging from its frame. But inside, the air was thick with dread. Detective Salerno and his team moved cautiously, eyes scanning every surface. The walls were covered in chrome tools and torn leather seats. It smelled of gasoline and something faintly metallic. Near the back, behind a stack of old tires, they found a pile of ropes, cut, knotted and frayed. A lab test later confirmed it, the same fiber type used to bind several of the victims. When officers questioned Angelo Buono, he played it cool. Slick hair, gold jewelry, the confidence of a man who thought he could talk his way out of anything. "I run a business, officer," he said, smirking. "You can check my books. I don't kidnap people. I fix Cadillacs." But when they asked about his cousin, Kenneth Bianchi, the charm slipped. Kenneth had recently moved north to Bellingham, Washington, claiming he wanted a fresh start. That alone raised red flags. Detectives were certain the two were working together, one the manipulator, the other the puppet. Then, in early 1979, word came from Bellingham that made every detective in LA sit up. Two young women, both college students, had been found murdered in a small house near the campus. The crime scene was disturbingly familiar. The bodies had been positioned carefully, with signs of restraint and strangulation identical to the Hillside murders. Kenneth Bianchi had been arrested nearby, claiming he found the bodies. When officers confronted him, he broke almost immediately. "You don't understand," he said between shaky breaths. "I didn't do it alone." The name Angelo Buono fell from his lips like poison. Detectives from Los Angeles flew north within hours. They sat across from Bianchi in a dimly lit interrogation room, tape recorder whirring softly in the background. What they heard was beyond comprehension. Bianchi described everything. The nights spent cruising Hollywood Boulevard, flashing fake badges, pulling over women who looked nervous. They'd handcuff them under the guise of a routine check, then drive them to Buono's home in Glendale. What followed was methodical control and cruelty, a ritual of power, domination, and fear. But what disturbed investigators most wasn't just the acts. It was how Bianchi described them. He spoke casually, like he was recalling a movie scene. "Angelo liked to be in charge," he said. "He told me what to do, when to do it. I just followed." Psychologists were called in after Bianchi began claiming he had multiple personalities. He said one of them, Steve, was the real killer. At first, it looked like a desperate attempt to fake insanity. But as sessions continued, experts debated whether he was mentally ill or monstrously manipulative. Back in Los Angeles, detectives scrambled to connect the dots. Using Bianchi's statements, they searched Buono's home, a modest house on East Colorado Street. In the garage, they uncovered even more evidence: police badges, fake ID cards, and a set of handcuffs with the serial numbers filed off. The case broke wide open. When officers arrested Angelo Buono, the media swarmed. Reporters shouted questions as he was led away in handcuffs. He just smiled for the cameras, whispering something no one could hear. Behind closed doors, detectives pieced together the timeline. 11 known victims over the span of 5 months. 11 women whose only mistake was trust in the wrong authority. But as the trial approached, prosecutors faced a daunting task. Without physical evidence linking Buono directly to each murder, the case rested heavily on Bianchi's testimony. And he was unstable, unpredictable, and manipulative. Rumors spread that he was trying to frame his cousin. Some believed Angelo was the mastermind. Others thought Kenneth exaggerated to save himself. One prosecutor said, "We're not just fighting for justice. We're fighting to prove who the devil really is." Then, just days before the trial, a letter arrived at the district attorney's office. Written in shaky handwriting, it was from Bianchi. He claimed to have remembered another body, one they hadn't found yet. Detectives raced to the location, a remote ravine in the San Gabriel Mountains. The smell of earth and decay lingered in the cold air as they unearthed skeletal remains, bound by the same type of cord used before. The evidence was undeniable now. The city of Los Angeles finally knew the full truth, but it would come at a cost neither the victims' families nor the detectives were prepared for. The trial of the century. If you thought the city's nightmare ended with their arrest, think again. What came next would expose just how twisted the human mind can truly be. Hit subscribe now, before you find out how deep this evil really went. The courtroom in downtown Los Angeles was packed. Reporters, victims' families, detectives. Everyone wanted to see the men who had terrorized an entire city finally face justice. At the defense table sat Angelo Buono, slick as ever, wearing a tailored suit and an expression of arrogance. Beside him, Kenneth Bianchi, thinner, quieter, his eyes darting nervously around the room. The cousins who had called themselves brothers in blood were now barely speaking. From the start, the case was chaos. Bianchi turned on Buono, agreeing to testify against him in exchange for leniency. But his testimony was erratic. One day, he confessed to every detail. The fake police routine, the rope, the victim's fear. The next, he recanted, claiming he was hypnotized or controlled by another personality. Psychologists dissected his mind for months. Was he schizophrenic, a pathological liar, or just a calculating manipulator trying to escape punishment? The jury watched, horrified, as transcripts revealed how the cousins preyed on innocents, picking up young women, pretending to protect them, only to destroy them. The prosecutors called it a crime built on control and domination, fueled by shared cruelty. In one unforgettable moment, a detective testified. They weren't killing for money. They were killing for power. They got off on being gods of fear. The trial dragged on for 2 years. Witness after witness painted a chilling picture of Buono's garage, the so-called workshop of terror. The psychological warfare between the cousins became a spectacle. Bianchi tried to implicate Buono in every crime, while Buono's lawyers called Bianchi a lunatic looking for a stage. At times, it seemed Buono might walk free. Evidence was circumstantial. Testimony was inconsistent. Then prosecutors played a taped conversation between the two, secretly recorded in jail. Bianchi's voice. "You know they'll never believe I acted alone." Buono's calm reply. "They don't have to believe. They just have to forget." It sent chills through the courtroom. When the verdict finally came down in 1983, the silence was deafening. The judge, face pale, read each count slowly. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Angelo Buono was convicted on 9 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Kenneth Bianchi, already convicted in Washington, received another life sentence. As deputies led them away, Buono turned and gave a small, smug grin, a look that still haunts those who saw it. Bianchi kept his head down, pretending to pray. The people of Los Angeles breathed again, but the scars ran deep. Parents warned their daughters never to trust anyone claiming authority. Women carried pepper spray, changed routes home, and learned to question every flashing badge. The media branded them the Hillside Stranglers, a name that would forever echo through the history of American crime. In prison, their paths diverged. Buono tried to run small cons, selling fake art through contacts on the outside. Bianchi studied psychology, still insisting one of his other selves was to blame. Both men received thousands of letters, some from journalists, others from disturbed admirers. It was proof that evil, once infamous, never fully dies. Years later, Angelo Buono was found dead in his cell, a quiet end for a man who once made a city scream. Bianchi remains behind bars to this day, occasionally writing to journalists, still claiming innocence, still manipulating the narrative. But for Los Angeles, the memory lingers. The echo of sirens, the hills at dusk, the fear that no one was safe. All reminders of a time when monsters wore the face of law enforcement. One of the surviving detectives once said, "They made us rethink everything we knew about trust. The badge used to mean protection. Now, it reminds me of how easily that power can be twisted." The Hillside Stranglers didn't just kill their victims, they stole a generation's sense of safety. And though decades have passed, the question remains, how many times did they flash those fake badges before someone finally said no? If you thought this case was terrifying, wait until you see what happened when a serial killer turned out to be part of the police force itself. Hit subscribe, tap like, and turn on the bell, because the next story might just make you question who's really protecting you. Stay safe, stay alert, and never ignore the shadows on the hillside.